Super activated evening in the land of the living. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Justin David, and if this is your first time on our channel, thanks a ton for stopping by. If this is not your first time on our channel, thanks for returning. Tonight we have a presentation that talks about why you shouldn't quit making music just yet. With that said, let's get right into the slides. Struggling to be heard. Don't quit music. Nobody listens. Nobody listens. When it feels like nobody's listening, keep going. Don't be deceived by the idea that no one is listening. Your music touches somebody, even in the midst of what seems like silence. We know that you aren't done. Your artistic expression originates from your heart. It generates an energy that will echo across space and time. Explore the profound meaning embedded in your creative expression that transcends vanity metrics and audience figures. So don't stop, because it's easy to be deceived that because you may not be having the outcomes that you predicted or you envisioned, that your music isn't having a positive influence on people who hear it. And just because there's not a lot of people that hear it, it doesn't mean it's any less valuable. So don't quit yet. Keep going and creatively expressing yourself. Don't allow circumstances that are currently ahead of you to stop you, because life can occur and you can find yourself not taking time that you would take time previously to creatively express yourself. Be that writing music, creating songs, writing compositions, making beats, mixing vocals, all of these activities that relate to creating your music. And it feels like nobody's listening because you put it out to the world, and the people closest to you, they may enjoy it if you're fortunate. Sometimes you could have people close to you or they're really not interested. You can't have those experiences where people close to you really appreciate your ability to create art. They can't create art, or it's not that they can't create art, they don't create art, or they don't think artistically, and they identify that skill set and that trait in you, and that makes them feel good. And little do you know, things that you've created has a positive influence on their life. And these people aren't just going around just giving people compliments and just telling everybody that what they create is the greatest things on planet Earth. No, but they like what you're doing. So keep going. And we know that you're not done. All energy continues. So when you put out your creative expression, it's not just stopping at some fixed point, especially with music, with sounds and vibrations. Those vibrations carry on. There's no telling how far those waves go. We don't know where the end is. We don't know where the beginning is. So we do know that when we put that energy out into the world, that it echoes across time. Even if right now you may be considering quitting, or you just may be in a season of life where you're not creating, where you're not putting in the work, where you may not be sitting at your computer making music or picking up that instrument that you used to pick up every single day or multiple times out the day, or maybe just a few times out the week to creatively express yourself. The unnecessary competitions, the unrealistic expectations that may be applied onto you by yourself or by peers, other people, other artists, that you just may have to find yourself talking to them, even if it feels like they're not listening to you. Personal fulfillment, creative self-expression. Music empowers you to artistically communicate your innermost thoughts and experiences. This is a perfect time for you when you feel like I should quit and I don't need to create music anymore. There's something that you more than likely you're struggling to communicate, and you haven't figured out a way to communicate that in the best way that you possibly can through your music or through your songwriting or through your visuals. And you want to be able to creatively express that part of you. But maybe right now, you may just not have the vocabulary, or you may not have had the lived experiences. Something fascinating has occurred in our creative expression where we've created a beat and we made that beat, and we've had a wonderful life. We've had a lot of lived experiences, but the experiences necessary to go on to that specific beat, we didn't live those experiences to 5 years later. So we had this beat for 5 years, and in that time period, of course, we could have written something to it. We could have forced something on there. The creative self-expression that matched with that beat perfectly. It took 5 years to have certain experiences that we could creatively articulate that would go with that piece of music, and any other expression on there wouldn't have worked. So don't be so ready to quit because you may be having some internal thoughts that are like telling you that this may not be the time for me to creatively express myself. And perhaps it may not be. There's a time and place for everything. So give yourself that space and that room to allow yourself to figure out how do you want to communicate your inner thoughts best. Artistic freedom. Release yourself from the burden of seeking approval. This will unleash your creativity and fulfilling your purpose. So the restrictions that you apply to yourself, which have a high likelihood of motivating you to want to quit, to have you want to not do this anymore, have you not want to creatively express yourself, because you may not be getting that fulfillment. You may have had certain expectations that some of them you may have achieved, other ones you may not have achieved. And because you did not achieve them when you wanted to or how you thought they were going to be, it leaves you not to be fulfilled. That can become like a prison. And one of the beautiful things about creative expression is that you have artistic freedom. So you can release yourself from that. The therapeutic value, the profound healing capacity of music is remarkable. It's something that we're really fascinated with right now at this phase of life that we are in. The healing powers of music and our creative expression that can guide in the processing of emotions and experiences with a deeper understanding. Skill development. Embrace your art. Every session is an opportunity to enhance your lyrical production and your technical abilities. So take the time where you may feel like you want to quit and you want to give up, or life has you in a bind to where you're just not creating the way you used to create, or you're just not motivated. Maybe you had to deal and make some life adjustments that just put you in a position and condition that you really didn't feel like you wanted to create and express yourself. This is a point in time where you could develop that skill of resilience that we'll talk about later. And with that skill development, allow you to creatively express yourself and write your lyrics and maybe get back into producing. Even though in this moment, while you're watching this video, you may feel like you want to quit, and maybe you have quit. Maybe it's been 2 weeks, maybe it's been 3 months, maybe it's been 5 years since you created something. The beautiful thing about it is you have something to express, and this may be the time. Maybe this is the video that sparks something in your mind that makes you want to embrace your art again and creatively express yourself again. And this would be a great opportunity to do that. You could progress through the time. Monitor your growth as an artist. It's not stagnant. We like to call it an adventure. Maybe you could look at it like a journey, but on a journey and an adventure, you have to monitor your growth. You may not grow as fast as you want to. You may grow slower, or you may be on a fast track of your artistry. But take this time to reflect on the beginnings, and then you can take an account for how far you've come. Having a wide range of skills through flexibility and exploration, this empowers you to express your creativity more effectively. And that could be a main reason why you even want to quit right now, because it's like maybe you haven't been effectively expressing yourself. Maybe you have not been effectively creating what you want to create, and it could put you in a funk, and then staying in that funk too long. This is where you can explore that time. You can be flexible. Give yourself some grace, because it's easy to just give up. It's hard to stick with it, especially when we've come to those barriers and we've come to those walls, and those walls seem to be closing in, and it's like where our creativity is gone, and now we want to stop, now we want to quit. But I would say just don't quit yet, not just yet. You may be on the verge of a breakthrough or some of your most amazing creative expressions. Your personal legacy. Your music has a lasting impact and becomes a time capsule for your creativity and experiences. It's almost like each time you go into a session, you lock in to that session those thoughts, those feelings, those emotions, that energy of that time period. Your music has the power to inspire others. We spoke about this earlier. There's people who may not be artistically compelling. They may not be driven to create art in a way that inspires other people. And the fact that you have that gift with your voice, or with your thoughts, or with the way you put together your rhymes, or the way you make your music, that inspires other people. Even if it only resonates with a handful of people, it doesn't have to be millions and thousands. It could be 10, it could be 5. However many it is, that's an amazing thing. If somebody's like something that you created that came from your heart, that came from inside of your mind, that you were able to communicate from your mind to put it into a form that another person's mind could interact and engage with it, and that inspires them, and even to a point where it could transform their lives. That's powerful. That's not something to be taken lightly. and that adds again to your personal legacy. Your collection of creativity is a treasure trove of expression to reflect upon and take joy in. This is irrespective of whatever recognition that you may get from peers or from your community or from your collective or your groups. Whether or not you get the recognition, you still creatively express yourself. And by putting that time in, if you quit and you stop making music, that's an end to it. And that doesn't add to your legacy. Your life is still to be lived. You have so much more to creatively express. This is not time nor the place to stop yourself or get in the way of yourself creatively expressing yourself. So take that into account, that you owe it to your future self to take care of it. Now, maybe you believe you don't owe anybody anything, and maybe nobody owes you anything. But when it comes to creative expression, specifically with the arts and music, we believe that we owe it to ourselves to be creatively expressive. There's somebody who, again, needs to be inspired by what you have to creatively contribute. And by your refusal or denial, it doesn't mean you wear the burden of not inspiring that person. But with that said, think of the artists that were there, even though they may not have known you, and maybe they may not have specifically made that body of work for you. You were introduced to that work at a time in your life where you needed that. And otherwise, your life may have gone a completely different direction if you had not been introduced to that body of work. The same goes for the bodies of work that you have, that you're creating. That person and that group of people that are out there, that the way you know how to articulate and creatively express yourself through your music, through your art, through your words, through your sounds, is exactly what they need at the time that they get it. They may not need it at the moment you make it, but when they need it, the fact that you created it and you made it and you express yourself is going to be exactly what they need. So this adds also to your personal legacy. Confidence building. Accomplishing each task amplifies your self-assurance and bolsters faith in your work. So even though you may want to quit right now, doesn't mean you don't have confidence. But that feeling of wanting to quit and no longer make your music is an attack on your confidence. By accomplishing small tasks as it relates, maybe it's just something as simple as opening up that last session that you had, that you stopped, and maybe you didn't finish adding a certain sound or adjusting a certain frequency or picking up that pen in that notebook. And maybe if it's not even in the audio of making music, maybe it's picking up your paintbrush, maybe it's picking up your sketchbook. There's many different ways to build and amplify that self-assurance through your art, through your music, and through your creative expression, however, whatever medium you choose. Resilience. Being persistent will nurture the resilience, so guiding you to persevere despite the hurdles and starting points. A lot of times we say setbacks are new starting points. So right now, if you're in the mindset of, I want to quit, I don't want to do it, nobody's listening, I'm putting in all this work, I've put in all this work, I've put in years of work, and the people who listen are no longer in our lives, the people who we want to listen are no longer in our lives, and then when we put it out into the world, it seems like it's just silence and it's just falling upon deaf ears. Don't allow that to attack your confidence and allow that to build up your resilience, because that's just a hurdle. And it's an illusion because somebody is always listening. My grandma used to say things like, somebody's always watching. So it's the same kind of concept when it comes to listening. You think, well, nobody's listening. Okay, I put out this album or I put out this beat and it seems like nobody's listening. The numbers, the metrics are coming back like it's so low. It's like a drop in the ocean. But lo and behold, there's somebody listening. Gaining that resilience will put you in a position and condition to get to a point and perspective where they are listening. Developing the practice of persistent dedication, that leads to a positive advancement in all spheres of your life. So even outside of just making music and creative expression and art, resilience, perseverance, and confidence, those are essential skills. Those are essential traits. Those are essential habits that no matter what phase of life you are in, that they're beneficial to you. Now, maybe that's just what it is. And it's like, okay, it's a time that season is over and you can build your confidence elsewhere. If you still have that burning internal desire to create your music, but you're just feeling like you want to quit right now, well, take some time to build your confidence and build up your resilience and persevere. Persevere through these feelings of wanting to quit because you feel like nobody's listening. Discovery. Without a major audience, you can experiment and you can do this freely. You could discover new sounds, new styles without that pressure of your audience not wanting to creatively go where you want to express yourself with. And you got to get the people what they want when they want it, even though you're not necessarily creatively expressing to just be entertaining them, because this is art, this is your creative expression, but it's a very delicate dynamic. It's almost like a dance, and in that dance, your audience is dancing with you and what you create, but having that pressure to always create what a large audience is expecting from you, because the second you create something that isn't in line and isn't in step with what they are anticipating from you, there's a high likelihood that they're going to fall off and they're no longer going to be in your audience because you didn't do what they expected you to do. And that is one of the big pressures of even having a major audience. So if you are in that position of like, well, I want to quit because nobody's listening, or I don't have a large audience, that's actually a great place to be, because you can create freely. You don't have to be constrained by that pressure of not being able to experiment and discover new styles and new sounds. Innovation, trying new things, can lead to breakthroughs you wouldn't explore otherwise. So there's a breakthrough if you're feeling like, I want to quit, and because of that, you don't know how you're going to get past that to the breakthrough. You come up with some new ideas, you come up with some new styles, some new sounds that may be that necessary spark to get you to explore, and otherwise not consider giving up and quitting, and consider persevering and keep moving and keep going. Okay, the process of making music is a wonderful reminder of the intrinsic joy found in the act of creating something new. So when you're creating, you're having fun, or we would like to believe that you're having fun. If it's no longer fun for you, then it's no surprise you want to give up and you want to quit. It's like, it's no fun. It's only fun if somebody's listening, maybe, but it could be fun just for the fact that you're able to creatively express yourself. Not everybody can do that. That's not a skill set that everyone has. So if you have the gift, the blessing to create music, try to find that fun again. If you're in that headspace of being discouraged and wanting to quit, you're really far from the fun. And specifically, if you're doing this to feed your family, to feed yourself, once you add money into the mix, it can really take the fun out of why you're doing it. It can really take the fun away from your creative expression and make you want to quit. Your music matters. The value of your music isn't just in listeners, but in the joy, the growth, and the impact you express. Keep creating. Your journey as a musician is unique and worth pursuing. No matter the audience size, always remember, music is a gift to yourself and to the world. So what are the next steps? Find your purpose in your art again and in your music, even if it's going unnoticed. And why do you want to do that? Your voice and creative expression is necessary. With that, we're rooting for you. Get there. Don't give up. Not yet. Even if you're struggling to be heard, keep on going. If you've made it to this part of the video, thanks a ton for stopping by. You could have watched any video and you chose to watch mine. So much love and respect to you for doing that. Subscribe for more presentations on music, philosophy, and entrepreneurship. And check out our channel for more videos and presentations like this. And like always, much love, respect, and peace in